Welcome back to what is likely part 2 of our Mansions of Madness Escape from the Innsmouth playthrough. So, we've had some interesting turns of events. We started out in our room and surprised one particularly aggressive Deep One hybrid. Managed to subdue him quite easily. Went out towards the west, and then the mob started following us around, and they're currently out there on the beach. We managed to find at least one set of clues inside of the library there. Yep, the mob has also started creating some darkness, and we dealt with another Deep One hybrid that started chasing us. We went out to the end of this dock that's a little bit off of the edge here, but got a big map this time. So our characters are currently at the end of the dock, and at the end of last time, we thought we had summoned rescue by lighting the beacon lamp at the end of the dock, and nothing. It didn't give us any specific information. It's not telling us, by the way, keep waiting here at the dock. I did think of checking the objectives, and it still says the same thing as the beginning. The locals have grown aggressive. If you could contact the fishing boat in the bay, you might be able to make your escape. And I thought that's what I did, but apparently that's not enough. We might have to do multiple things. It's possible that we can use the rowboat right here to get out there. It's not enough to escape, but it might get you to the fishing boat in the bay. Likewise, there's some more rowboats over here. You might be able to use one of them. But we find ourselves directly in the path of the mob right now. The mob's there and we're up there. Last turn we stopped just out of their range. But what's the best way to get out of here? I'm not sure if the mob's just going to continue going clockwise. So far, every turn, it has told us exactly which tile the mob is moving towards, and following that, they're likely to end just outside the little rental shack here on their next turn. But they do have pretty nasty horror checks against them. They're pretty scary. So what I'm thinking of doing, just to get out of their way right now, maybe there's like some timer and the boat will show up there in 3 turns. Right now, we have no idea. So basically, we're back into, I guess we're not done. We need to gather more clues and see what we can find. And so the best way to get out of danger that I can see is use Rita's exceptional speed, and we can get into this shack. And last time, we discovered a secret passage, and we didn't want to go in there because, well, we wanted to get to that lantern and light it and summon rescue. But we did find a secret passage that should lead into the building behind the shack. And one of the things about like horror checks is it goes within range, range being 3, but range doesn't go through doors or walls. So if we can get into this building, whatever the heck is in there is probably better than this mob that's running around outside. So this investigator phase is going to be light on the searching, I suppose, but we are going to get into this building. So we'll use her move of 3. Her special ability is an extra movement point. So she makes it there, and now we're going to take an explore action. We're going to see what's inside of that building. You pull the panel toward you and slide it to one side. Discard this explore token and place a secret passage as indicated. Ooh, goody. So which of these is a secret passage tile? Let's see, what does that look like? Yeah, this looks like one. So we've got a wall with some missing boards from it. Oh, and Aurora's back. Hello, kitty. Okay, we've got our secret passage in place. And what's there? Okay, so secret passage that was on that side. You climb through the wall into a dingy bathroom. Place the bathroom tile and a secret passage as indicated. Move your investigator to that space. So this is a tile that we've encountered in the last house. So this is the shared bathroom inside the building. And it turns out there is a secret passage. out of the bathroom. So now we need the other kind of secret passage tile. Where are you? And it's a wall that has been opened. Come on, one of these has to be the right secret passage tile. Is it just the opposite side of this one? Yeah, you know what? That's fine. That's where the secret passage is. Okay. And move your investigator figure to that space. Nice, so the explorer just says you went through it. Now that we're back inside, as you look around the filthy bathroom, you spot a ratty newspaper sitting on the tank of the toilet. Place a search token. Now, the only door in the bathroom must lead to the hotel's back hall. Place an explore token as indicated. We have made it inside. Okay, and that's it. So that was Rita's full turn. She did a move of 3 and then an explore. So now it is Sinclair's turn. And what we want for him is he's just going to double move and get into that bathroom with Rita. So 2 spaces and then 2 spaces. And now the mob should pass us by and we shouldn't get hit by it. We're basically huddled in this secret passage bathroom that we're hiding in. Okay. And I guess that's going to end our investigator phase. Let's see if anything different happens here related to signaling that boat. The walls seem to close in around you. This mythos events each investigator in an alley or hall. Well, we're not in a hall, we're in the bathroom, so no effect. A few members of the mob begin singing a horrid croaking melody, and in response the sea begins to sing along. The inhuman notes echo through the alleys and streets, insinuating themselves into the minds of all who hear it. Each investigator suffers 2 face-down horror. So, this is a serious problem now, because, horror-wise, Rita now has 5 face-down horror, which is enough to cause her to go insane. And Sinclair also has 5 face-down horror, 1 less than his sanity. So, I need to figure out what exactly I'm going to do here with this. So I need to double-check the insanity rules, because we didn't have that happen last time. Insanity? Monsters' conditions? Yep. Okay, when you've suffered horror, whether face-up or face-down, equal to their sanity, the investigator becomes insane. When they become insane, they gain an insane condition and discard all of their face-down horror cards. They read the back of their insane condition, but cannot reveal it to the other investigators. Okay. And there are several of them that we only use in 3+ games, so we'll discard if we get one of those. But it does mean she's going to discard the 5 sanity she has, or the 5 face-down things that she did have. And I think we knew that one of them... No, that was actually Sinclair. We knew one of his 2 was a minor one. So these really just get shuffled back in. Here, I'll do that bit off camera later. But gets an insane condition, and we get to read it. So our first insanity condition that we'll probably have ever seen. So the insane card. Look at the back of this, but do not reveal it to the other investigators. This one is a 2+, selfish motives. You do not trust your friends, and you sure as hell will not sacrifice yourself for them. You do not win the game as normal. Instead, you win only if the investigation is complete and you are not wounded. Otherwise, you lose the game. When you gain this card, if you are wounded, discard it and get a different condition. So basically, if this one stays in play, hello Aurora, she's coming back again. So with this one in play, even if we completed the rest of the objectives otherwise, if Rita was wounded, Rita would still lose the game, but Sinclair would be able to win the game. Weird conditions where half of the characters would win and half would lose. But this does say 2+. So I believe that is something that can happen in my game. 2 people max, so yeah. So yeah, Rita now really cares about not being wounded. Okay, so that is her particular insanity. I'm putting that down next to her cards. Okay, and the rest of her things went away. What else happens? As the sounds of the song carry into the fog, a horrible fish-like creature steps out of the wake and onto the beach. Spawn a deep one as indicated. Okay, I'll set that all up. I'll shuffle the other ones back in, and I'll be right back. Okay, I shuffled the horror damage deck. Put the other ones back in. So we have a deep one. It is currently in the same space as the riotous mob, and it's this big guy with all these fins and webbed tails and big claws. And he is just as horrifying as the mob, though he only has a evasion of 3, and he's easier to push around, only 2 physicality. He can move through impassable borders that represent water, so there aren't really any fountains for him to wade through, but he could, I guess, go onto the pier. And just as horrifying, also a horror level of 4. Okay, the mob moves 2 spaces towards the rental dock. Or the rental... yeah, that's the rental dock, okay. So they're onto that space now. And it treads on anyone in their way, but there's no investigators in their way. And attacks within range. We are not within range because we are through that secret passage. So we are safe. But the deep one moves 2 spaces through toward the nearest investigator and attacks the one with the lowest observation. Now, I need to just double check whether, I guess in the rules reference on secret passages, can monsters go through secret passages? I assume they can. Let's see, yep, a feature connecting 2 or more spaces. Yeah, investigators and monsters can move through a secret passage unless it's blocked by a barricade. So the deep one goes straight to us. It can go through that wall, and now we're trapped in the bathroom with a deep one. Okay, who has the lowest observation? That is Rita, who suddenly cares a lot about not being knocked out. Thankfully, Carson does have the healing spell. He can heal the body, though not the mind. So the deep one attacks Rita. Okay. Hammers you over and over again with powerful fists. So test strength. This is Rita's strongest point with 5. Okay. So what have we got here? Okay, we got 2 successes. Okay, we block each of its attacks. If you fail, we don't have to worry about that. So we took no damage from it. Rita is strong. Okay, now we must resolve a horror check against the one in range with the highest horror, so that's going to be the deep one. I thought we had avoided a nasty horror check by going inside, but no. So we're probably going to be fighting this nasty monster this turn. Okay, Rita first. The deep one's gargling seems to trigger something deep in your primitive mind. Suffer 1 face-down horror. I hate these automatic damage things, because there's no negate. If you pass, you take a few deep breaths. If you fail, flip things face up. So she's already 1 step out of 5 towards being eliminated. Okay, so will, she has a will of 4. Ugh. Okay, and I need 2 successes here. I got absolutely nothing, not even anything that I can adjust. So, flip 2 horror face up. She only has 1 to flip face up. That's the only bright side. It's the one she just got. So, what does she have? A minor shock. Okay, no additional effect. Flip it face down. So, at least no compounding horrors. So, actually, the will check wasn't even important on this part. This time. Whew. And now, Sinclair has a horror check against the same thing. It opens its mouth and a choking wet song emerges. It is no human sound, but you feel the creature's yearning, fear, and hate in every note. Suffer 2 horror and will negates. His will is 3. He has no clues. And he only got clue results, so he just suffers the 2 horror. Now, he has also just reached his maximum of horror, because he had 5, so he reaches 6, and now he is insane as well. So we're going to end up just discarding everything that he had, so that's also going to get shuffled back into the horror deck after all of this. So anyway, I'll shuffle this up off screen again. But what is his new insanity going to be? Let's see, obsessive for 1+. So this one can always be in play. You must find it. You do not know what it is, but when you see it, you will know and finally have some peace. You do not win the game as normal. Instead, you win only if the investigation is complete and there are no search tokens on the board. Otherwise, you lose the game. So, Sinclair now must search every search token or else he does not win the game. So we're probably going to lose just by going insane again before that can happen. But even if the boat shows up, he cannot simply leave now. Great. Oh boy. Yeah, this is really not playing to his strengths at all. Okay. Let me shuffle this thing back up. Be right back. Okay. So, we've both gone insane once now. Wonderful. But that's the end of this mythos phase, at least. So now we can start trying to kill this deep one that's right in front of us. Yeah, the worst thing is the mob just causing 2 face-down horror damage, and nothing we can do about it, no way to negate. At least with the deep one, we can fight him and kill him and, get him out of our way. So I guess we want Rita to bash it with a lead pipe. As much as we can. I mean, at least in theory, the spells that Sinclair has are stronger, because the lead pipe is lethality 1, the razor is lethality 2, and the shriveling is lethality 3. But who knows? Like the spectral razor thing last time we did it, did damage, but it would have also done a bunch of extra damage if it wasn't overkill on the deep one hybrid. So I guess we're going to start with Sinclair. The reason to start with Rita is that if we manage to kill it, Sinclair can use his healing spell, the Flesh Ward, to try to heal Rita and potentially himself. Definitely my characters lean more towards the physical attributes, which means we're weak to all of the horror stuff that's getting inflicted on us right now. So Rita is, at least in theory, the one who should go first. She also has that focus where she can convert all of her clues to successes once, which would be nice. Yeah, those items we had last time that gave us like rerolls and stuff, great, and we don't have those this time. Ooh, okay, so I guess I've decided to go with Rita first. She's going to, yeah, I don't need the dice yet. We need to click on the deep one, and we are attacking it with a heavy weapon. Why are you swinging your weapon in a circle? You're in a cramped bathroom with one of your allies. This is a terrible idea. You swing your weapon in a circle, momentum carrying it towards your foe. If you pass, the head of your weapon connects, sending your enemy reeling. So it's the weapon's damage plus your test result if you fail and barely manage to hold on to your weapon. So not too much of a negative. Yeah, her agility at least is 4. It's not terrible. So, lead pipe against the deep one. What do we got? Okay, we got 2 successes and 1 clue result. 1 clue result, I'm just going to spend one of our clues rather than spending focused on this. And that's going to give us 3 damage. Wait, no, 3 successes plus the weapon's damage, so that's 4 damage to the deep one. So that's halfway down. And now we're going to have Rita just attack it with her lead pipe again. If we can get the same thing, then it'll be gone. Okay, you jab your weapon at your foe's stomach. Strength check of 1. If you pass, you strike it in the gut with an audible thud. It suffers damage equal to the weapon's damage plus your test result. Okay, we've got a good shot here to just finish off a deep one in 2 strikes. So this is all 5 dice. Well, actually, no, this isn't bad. We got the same result as last time. We got 2 successes and 1 clue. So we can spend 1 clue on this to make that a success, and then add the weapons damage to it, and that's going to make it another 4. So we are going to kill the deep one. I can still hold on to the focus, maybe for a test result on something else, but I want to spend the focus on more than one clue upgrade. So yeah, we have defeated the deep one. And I should get some kind of bonus, you know, hey, you defeated that. You know, recover 1 horror, you know? But okay. We have defeated the deep one, so it is off the board now. And we can at least not take the horror checks for this next round. But that was Rita's 2 actions. So this time it's time for Sinclair. And Sinclair, we are going to use Flesh Ward. So you or another investigator within range discard 1 damage, then flip this card. So it only gives us 1 damage back, which sucks. Well, it doesn't suck. That is good. But, you know, for an action, I expect more. Because you only get 2 actions per character. This is another thing where, like, if you have 5 investigators, do you really just have double the capabilities of these 2 investigators? Or is there going to be, would there be more monsters on the board, or tougher checks, or something to balance that out? I really feel like I'm just getting shortchanged a little bit by only having the 2 characters here. Okay, but we're going to do that for Rita. And then the second one, we're going to search the thing that's on our space. So she discards 1 damage, and since I never knew what it was, I'm just going to put it, I guess, on the bottom of the health deck. I don't need to shuffle when I never saw it in the first place. So then flip it face up and use the D10. So we got a 5, which means it's the 3rd card of the Flesh Ward deck. As long as I don't know what it's going to be ahead of time, it's perfectly fair game. So, Flesh Ward, every hair on your body stands on end. This is a lore test that needs 3. His lore is 4. Well, if you fail, something sucks. What do we get? Well, we needed 3 successes. He doesn't have focus, so he failed. So if you pass, the moment passes and you are yourself again. If you fail, shouting and flailing, you abruptly flash out. Flip 1 damage face up. Then discard this and gain another Flesh Ward spell. So he has 1 damage. Maybe he should have cured himself. And face up, it's a minor injury, only a flesh wound, no additional effect. Flip this back face down. Okay, so that could have been nasty. Instead it was only not very good. But yeah, only curing 1 of these wounds per an action. I mean, if my character had like 5 health and 9 sanity instead of what Rita has, that would feel a lot more significant, so still, I need to keep her from getting wounded, or she's effectively guaranteed to lose, so don't want that to happen. Oh, what else is there? What else is there? Right, we're going to search this newspaper that's in the bathroom, because Sinclair now has to uncover every one of these question marks. And boy, I really need something that can cure sanity issues. Okay. A copy of the Innsmouth Tribune sits on the toilet's tank. It's over 10 years old. This is Sinclair's 2nd action. Search. You skim through the paper. Okay, this is Sinclair's best stat, observation of 5. And he got nothing. He got a single clue token, but he has no clues to make that work, so I guess this is balancing out the terrible searches from before. You find no articles of interest, but it's still there. So, Sinclair had a bit of a bad turn. That's it for the investigators. We did all of our actions. So everywhere Carson Sinclair looks, he sees the same thing. A child, her face bleeding, 1 finger pointing directly at him. He just straight up suffers 2 horror. Nothing I can do about this. And now the mob. They move 2 spaces towards Alley 1. I wonder what would have happened if I had never actually uncovered this. So, yeah, this is the same thing as every other time. It would drag people with it doing damage. We're not in the way. And nobody is in their space. Okay, You hear some members of the mob break away from the main body, spawn a Deep One hybrid in the mob's space. So we've got a new hybrid guy in here, and he's also going to track us down through that secret passage later. Okay, so he moves 2 spaces towards the nearest investigator. So, yeah, there's technically still an explorer there because we haven't gone through any of this. So the only way to us is currently through that secret passage. So there's nobody in his space still. He moves 2 more spaces towards the nearest investigator. And oh look, he has reached us in the bathroom. Now we have to do a horror check against this hybrid. Because of course we're going to have to do a horror check every round, no matter how much we go out of our way to avoid it. Okay, it's Rita's turn. The hybrid's throat swells to a disgusting size before it lets loose a horrifying screech. The noise rattles your teeth and twists your stomach. Suffer 1 horror negated by will. Her will is 4. Okay. 3 successes. She got past that pretty easy. Sinclair's turn. The hybrid's eyes roll upward, and it seems to be lost in some horrible thought. A long trail of green fluid drips from its mouth. Suffer 1 face-down horror, negated by will. His will is 3. It seems like will may be the most important stat in this entire game, considering all of these horror checks. He got 1 success? Yeah, okay, so he negated the horror. So, that much is nice. We didn't have any terrible things that round, but we do have a pesky Deep One in our space now. I guess we're going to do the same thing as last time. Rita is going to pound this thing into submission, and then Sinclair's going to search again, and hopefully we will get better rolls this time. So, does he have... Yeah, he has the same stats as before. Rita attacks with heavy weapon. As you close on your enemy, you attempt to bash it with the butt of your weapon. Strength check of 2. So her strength remains 5. Yeah, at the very least, the strength has been... Or these heavy weapon checks are almost all strength. The ones that haven't have mostly been agility. But they haven't tasked me to test influence for a heavy weapon. That at least is some solace here. So let's bash him. We got 1 success and 1 question mark. If you fail, he bashes it aside. I don't want to spend clues on this, but again, I don't want to spend the focus on anything less than two clue results. So that gives us 2 successes. We passed. He suffers damage equal to your test result plus 1, so it's done 3 damage. And now she attacks him a second time with her heavy weapon. Okay, you jab at their stomach. Strength check of 1. Okay, and then it'll be the weapon's damage plus your test result. So I need at least 2 successes here to finish off the Deep One. Okay, we got 3 successes and a clue. We easily have enough to finish him off. 3 successes plus 1 from the damage. He's already discarded. Okay, so the Deep One, it took Rita's turn, but the Deep One is gone. Now, Sinclair, let's see if you can read this newspaper better this time. So, yep, skim through the paper, observation, it's still 5. Get some successes. Okay, 3 successes, we can't use the clue result, but 3 should give us what we need. Buried on page 8, you find an article about the Marsh family and their sudden inexplicable wealth. Gain the circumstantial evidence unique item and 1 clue. Discard this search token. Okay, our friend Sinclair finally has a clue. And some more evidence. So we've got circumstantial evidence. Let's see, we also still want that missing link card that Rita is carrying. We could do a trade just to give her that. Yeah, I think that makes sense. But let's see, anything else popping up? No, just that search con? Okay. So we're still hiding in the bathroom of the hotel, which I find a little bit amusing. So if I do a trade action, I think I'm going to give the Flesh Ward spell over to Rita because she's the one who really cares about that. No, we're still going to have spellcasting Sinclair. We're just going to give the missing link evidence along with all these other pieces. So now Sinclair has 4 evidence. He has the old journal, the cult sigil, the circumstantial evidence, and the missing link that we got from that puzzle. Now, when we had this journal before, compiling evidence doesn't say it's an action. You are convinced that the Marsh family is guilty of some monstrous crime, but you cannot quite prove it. You only need 1 or 2 more pieces of evidence. Okay, so at least they're, giving us that much of a hint. So we've got some people we can talk to in the alley over here. Maybe after the mob goes by, we can try talking to them. Or we've got all of these things that Sinclair absolutely must search those crates. He is obsessive about this now, for some reason. And he cannot win unless he has searched those crates. So, well, either way, that's going to do it for the investigators for this round. Let's keep going. Yeah, because he did the trade. The trade was his second thing. Rita is still just holding the oil lamp and the lead pipe. I suppose I could just set fire to this hotel and just watch everything burn. But yeah, that mob still has 60 health, so I could try to kill it. Be tough. The corridor in front of you twists and stretches on forever. It is impossibly long. Impossible. Each investigator in a hall or alley suffers 2 horror. We're still hiding in a bathroom. We're fine. Okay, one of the locals glances up at the tall bell tower. He tries the door but finds it locked. Unable to get inside, he smashes his lantern against the door, covering it in burning oil. Place fire as indicated. I'm gonna have to relook up the fire rules because fire spreads. Okay. The mob moves 2 spaces towards the alley corner 1, and they drag anyone with them. So alley corner 1, yep, they're continuing their clockwise motion, and they've now reached that corner. And there's nobody in range or in their space. Now we must resolve a horror check. There is nobody nearby. Okay, we got lucky on that round. Okay, it's time for us to escape this bathroom that we're hiding in. I mean, I can have my people split up because Sinclair, we can have basically just walk right outside and go test the, Hello again, Aurora. Over to here. Yeah, come get pets over there. There you go. So Sinclair can just go back out the secret passage and just start exploring those search tokens in the back. Now that the mob is going away from us, this side of the board is relatively safe. I am considering having Rita, like if she explores out this way, will reveal what this is. But she can also basically make her way to this one, and hopefully she can explore that before the mob gets into range. And I can just try to stay ahead of them again and deal with it that way. But yeah, the fire, like the rules reference, I need to look up fire now. Aurora, do not sit down right there. Go back to your happy corner. There you go. Good girl. Yep, that's it. So the fire, because fire is nasty. Yep, it is harmful to investigators and monsters. Now, I think the, like you're supposed to alert the app whenever there is fire. Let's see, make sure I'm clicked in there. Yeah, what, set fire? Well, there is a set fire thing, but I have not, like, the game has to know if you've set a fire because the fire spreads, but I had to put fire into this one space because the mob set fire there. So that I'm a little worried about if that fire is going to spread. Because basically whenever you move into a space with fire, that's just straight face down damage. Whenever you take action in a space with fire, that's also some damage. An investigator may attempt to extinguish the flames by testing their agility. So it's basically like agility to try to put out the flames. Rita would be relatively good at that. But yeah, whenever a monster starts their activation, or does something in fire, they take damage. So yeah, at the beginning of the Mythos phase, before Mythos events, fire spreads. So you basically get one new space is on fire every turn. And I'm worried about I'm worried about what the game is going to do with that, because it's not telling me to do anything else that's specific with that fire right now. But just having that on the board, I am worried. That said, if I just keep putting the fire out in the building, and I just let the mob, like everything outside, become on fire, the mob will eventually die. You know, it has those literally 60 hit points here, but it doesn't say infinity. I could, you know, the mob always moves first, so I could have Sinclair just following them and hitting them with his ranged attack spell, because they'll move 2 spaces, so they'll put themselves out of range every turn. I could try to just follow them and just keep hitting them. But he would take too many negative... he would die first, but I think it would be fun. Well, it's back to our turn. So, do I try to go through the back? I need more evidence still. Those crates, suspicious? I need to search because of Sinclair's insanity. Well, Sinclair can give an extra action to Rita as long as they're within range of each other. So I can have Sinclair basically order Rita to do the explore. Hopefully that'll get her out to here. She still wouldn't be able to get to there in, like, the same turn, is my biggest problem. Because the Explorer is probably only going to get her 1 space. It's not going to give her, like, a move as well. But that would at least get her into that space before next turn, because the mob is coming. So yeah, I'm going to have... Sinclair is technically going to go first, and then he's going to sort of go back out to the back and start searching back there. This is technically Sinclair's turn. He's ordering Rita to investigate the way out of the bathroom. It leads into the hotel's back hall. Behind your hotel room, a cramped hallway leads to the hotel's public bathroom. At least the bathroom tile is indicated, and this car hall... Well, we were on it, we just came out the other side of it. Discard all explore tokens leading to it. So those both are gone. And we are in that space. Okay, what else? An end table sits in the corner of the hall. Place a search token as indicated. And opposite the bathroom is a heavy door marked Henderson's. Place an explore token as indicated. You may move 1 space into the explored area. Okay, so Sinclair ordered her into that area, and now I have more things that I absolutely must interact with before before we can leave. So now it makes even less point to have Rita move. Rita's just going to have to do that and then move, because she can always move, hit the search, and then keep running on the next turn. So Sinclair is going to trust Rita to check. But Rita isn't as observant. If this is searching stuff on an end table, this is stuff Sinclair has to do. Now, one thing I'm noticing is that it didn't give us a way... Like, apparently that is not a hallway there. That's just a... like, we can only get into there from out here, apparently. Which is weird. But okay, so Sinclair just moved into the same space he just ordered Rita into. Wonderful. Okay. And now, so Rita's turn begins. She's gonna start running. Actually, that makes no sense, because if I move 3, she has to stop there. I want her to end up running 1 space this turn, and then next turn she'll hit that on her way. Otherwise she has to stop in that space, and it's less efficient. Which means I am going to rely on Rita to do that, so Sinclair is actually going back there with his second action. Rita, Investigate the end table, please. Please be observant. Okay, she's going to search that and then move out. So, you dig through the contents of the drawers looking for anything out of place. This is a lore check, which is 3 for her. Okay. And she got 2 successes. Way to go, Rita. Hopefully that's enough. You find an old piece of paper at the top of one drawer. The strange script on it seems very out of place indeed. Gain the rack spell, then discard this search token. Okay, Rita has her own spell now. Her own attacking spell. So, rack. The words of the incantation cause intense racking pain to tear at your enemy's body. Yeah, this says it has lethality 5, so this appears to be a nasty spell. And now she's got her own. Oh, but it's a melee attack spell. So the next time a Deep One hybrid catches up with her, she can try that instead of the lead pipe. Really, that's something else that Sinclair should have. Oh well. But we discard the search token, so that has satisfied Sinclair's objective. And now she's just going to run 3 spaces. We still haven't found a key for there. It's probably locked. No need to go in there. Okay, that's ending our investigator phase. Mythos phase. Oh, the fire spreads out of control. Place fire in a space adjacent to a space with fire. Okay, so that really is, as I feared, that fire is going to be... I guess it's just going to be following the mob. Because that gives us the most we can deal with. Unfortunately, it's basically making those people inaccessible. The sky above flashes and splits open. This event affects the investigator in an outdoor space with the highest health. Well, that's Sinclair, because he's the only one in an outside space. With a shattering crash, a bolt of lightning streaks to earth and strikes you. Suffer 4 face-down damage, negated by strength. His strength is 3. Okay. He got 1 clue, so he could negate 1 of this damage. But yeah, it's 4 face-down damage. He's got 8 health. The heat and light from the blast is overwhelming. You and each other investigator within range becomes dazed. Then each other investigator in your space suffers 1 face-down damage. So yeah, he can either suffer 3 damage or 4 damage. I want to keep the clue. So I'm going to let him take the 4 face-down damage. He does have the flesh ward. Maybe he can cure himself. But yeah, this kinda sucks. But I mean, even if he gets wounded, that means he can only spend 1 action on movement. So he'll just spend an action every turn trying to heal himself, I guess. Oy. And he is dazed. So dazed means you cannot spend clues to convert dice results or perform extra puzzle steps. At the end of your turn, discard this card. So he's going to be dazed for his next turn only. Okay. The mob moves 2 spaces towards the front street. Yep, and there's nobody anywhere nearby, nobody within range. Okay, you hear some members of the mob break away from the main body, spawn a thrall in the Innsmouth mob space. A thrall. Interesting. I think that's one of the ones from one of the expansions, because I saw that as a new monster that had shown up. Yeah, Thrall. This is one I've not actually seen before, so let's put him on the zoom real quick. Thrall has a big ugly hand, 4 horror level, 3 I guess observation, and strength of 2. With control of this body passed to a greater power, the will of this creature is as alien and terrifying as its form has become. So this is a new thing, although it's still basically just a slightly more terrifying version of the same... one of these 2. Nope, those are the other heroes. How about you? Do you have the thralls? Yeah, you have the thralls. The big ugly hand. Okay. So, our thrall has that real big hand. You're stealing the focus, Aurora. Well, that's fine. So we've got our thrall. Their physicality is also 2. They're a little bit nastier than the Deep One hybrids. And that is in their space. So it moves 2 spaces towards the nearest investigator, which is going to be Rita this time. They're always exactly 4 spaces away, so there's no one in the space, so it moves 2 more spaces. Yeah, Rita has to do another horror check, because of course she does. Okay. Horror check against the thrall by Rita. You can see exactly where the creature stops being human. Its bubbling flesh and flat, burning eyes suffer 2 horror negated by will. I really need a way to get these horror damage back. Well, we got plenty of successes there. 3 successes and a clue result, so she's fine. But yeah, ouches. Many ouches. And that's it for horror checks. Figures that thrall's still going to be within like horror check range of her next turn. But Rita needs to just keep searching for clues. Maybe the boat doesn't show up until you've got enough clues on the Marsh family. It really doesn't specify this anywhere that I can see or know about, but that would explain. Okay, so Rita, if she runs away, she has to deal with an evasion check. She is fairly agile and has a lot of health left, so I'm going to go for that. So we're going to do an evasion check against the thrall. The creature seems distracted. So agility check, need 2 successes. Her agility is 4. And she did not get anywhere close. She has 1 clue result, but it's not enough to pass anyway. If you fail, though the thrall has its back to you, an arm whips around to block your path before you escape. Forfeit your action. Come on, this whole thing was about dealing with... Because I wanted to move and then keep going. So, do I use the lead pipe and make an attack where I'm likely to do half the damage necessary to kill this thrall? Or do we go with the rack spell and that new spell we learned? Because it says it's got lethality 5 and we're in the melee space. So yeah, I forfeited the move action. Not so. Now we're attacking you with a spell. You begin the incantation as if by instinct, your lips forming the words of their own accord. Even as you give voice to the eldritch sounds, you struggle to understand their meaning. So, lore check of 2, her lore is 3. So, what have we got? 1 clue result. We don't have enough to pass regardless. All of my early luck has turned against me in this game. You realize too late that the words serve their own dark purpose, and you serve merely as a vessel to give them life. So, the spell failed. Now we flip it over and see what happens. So this was the rack spell, so again, roll my d10, let's see which copy we had. Okay, 4, which means it's the second copy of rack. So we didn't get any successes, so let's see what this gives us. A tremor of searing white pain passes through you. You and each other investigator in your space suffer 1 face-down damage. Then discard this and get a different copy of the spell. So, she has suffered 1 fresh face-down damage. Not going well. But that was Rita's turn. Rita has done effectively nothing this round. How about Sinclair, who's off on the farthest side? Let's investigate the rowboat on the beach. If this thing actually works, Rita's just going to run through the building and get back to him. Okay, he is searching the old rowboat on the beach. You brush sand and dirt from the boat to check its condition. He has observation 5. He's also dazed, so it just means he can't spend clues until the end of this turn. So he does have 2 successes and 2 clues that he can't use because he's dazed. So we just have 2. You remove an old fishing net from the bottom of the boat and discover a gaping hole in the boat's hull. You would be surprised if it floats at all, but you do find something else of use. Gain the bandages common item, then discard this search token. So if I remember correctly, bandages, well, we'll see precisely in a moment. But yeah. Bandages, action, you can discard up to 2 face-down damage, then discard this card. So it's a one-time heal of a couple of damage. That said, Sinclair is in need of discarding a couple of damage. By quite a large degree at the moment. So he is holding on to those bandages, along with so many other things. Okay, then discard this search token. That's one more thing preventing him from leaving. Okay, let's see, so it's an action to use the bandages. I think I want to move him out to here so that he can search the farthest out thing. I also suspect that those crates might have the key he needs to search on that other space. So he's out to there, and that's going to end our next investigator phase. And Rita is in some trouble. The fire spreads out of control, and just place fire in a space adjacent to another fire space. I'm just going to have it go clockwise around this building on the outside. Yep, the fire spreads. Unbidden, the terrible things you have seen rise up from your memory, where they were safely locked away. Each investigator flips 2 horror face up. Okay, so Rita has 1 horror. Okay, it's a minor shock. So just flip it face back down. So Sinclair has 2 horror, so he's going to have to do these one at a time. The first one, disoriented. Your wits desert you, leaving you mumbling and uncertain. How could what you have just seen be real? Resolve immediately, become dazed. I mean, I forgot to get rid of his dazed condition, but it came right back. Then flip it face down. And the other one is a minor shock. Your heart races and your breath catches in your throat. No other issue. Yeah, you're supposed to randomly flip them face up, so I would have rolled a die if I had more than the 2 to flip. Okay. The mob moves 2 spaces towards Street 2. They have done a full lap of the inn. They haven't dragged anyone with them, and no investigators are within range because we are inside and we're blocked from the door. Okay, the thrall moves 2 spaces towards the nearest investigator. You're already there. Attacks. So it gets to attack Rita. The thrall whispers something. When you lean in to listen, an alien will invade your mind and you are filled with a strange calm. Become dazed and mesmerized, then flip 1 horror face down. So mesmerized is one of the new conditions because this thrall is actually from one of the expansion things. I think the thralls are from Beyond the Threshold. I'm not entirely sure. But, so she's dazed, so she can't spend clues on this next turn. But she's also mesmerized, which is a new condition. At the end of your turn, an alien will takes control. Alright, flip this card. So there are 5 mesmerized conditions. So in this case, I'm going to roll my d10 again to figure out which one she gets a copy of. And they can just, like, randomly move you in some direction or something or other. So we got the 4th card. At the end of her turn, something random is going to happen. Because, yeah, literally something else takes control of you for, like, a tiny minor action. Okay. Then flip 1 horror face down. Well, she doesn't... Her horror is already face down, but if she had a horror face up, it would flip face down. There was no defense against what it did to us. Each investigator must resolve a horror check. So the only one that's going to be here is Rita resolving a horror check against this dang thrall. You can see exactly where the creature stops being human, in its bubbling flesh and flat burning eyes. Except for 2 horror negated by will. Yeah, we're already insane. The mental damage is our worst thing here. So she does have the will of 4. And she got 2 successes. The 2 clue results would have been irrelevant because she can't use clues right now. Although she technically has the focused condition, so we could convert clue results to two successes without actually spending clues. So that kind of gets around the dazed condition. But either way, she managed to negate both of the horror. So we are good. We're ending that mythos phase, and we're back to the investigator phase again. And yeah, that fire over there is a problem. Yeah, I mean, Rita is the best one to put out that fire, but right now, this dang thrall is preventing her from moving. And yeah, that search result, I could always just try to run again, but if this stupid thrall blocks me, especially because I've got this dazed thing and I have no idea what mesmerized is going to do to me, it could force me to move towards Sinclair, away from Sinclair. It could put me directly into the mob, which would be absolutely brutal for us. So I'm really concerned. I need to fight this thrall and hopefully kill it. But yeah, not having the ability to deal with the dazed thing is a big problem. So the rack spell. Unfortunately, Rita is not the best with the spells. I think I'm going to stick with the reliable old lead pipe. So Rita, bash thrall. Oh, I don't know which thing it's actually going to use, so let's attack. Heavy weapon. Okay, it is a strength check. Slam your weapon into your opponent's gut. So strength check, need at least 2. Well, I got 3 clues. So, as I just mentioned, because I am dazed, I cannot spend clues. But I can use the focused card, because that does not spend any clues. It converts all clue tokens to successes when resolving a test. I'm finally spending that focused condition. So those are now 3 successes. If you pass, you feel bones crunch beneath your blow. The monster suffers damage equal to the weapon's damage plus your result. So that's 4 damage. Okay. And we're just going to attack again with our heavy weapon. Take that dazed status. We were focused while also dazed. Heavy weapon again. Okay, swing at your foe. The sweat on your palms threatens to loose the weapon from your grasp. Strength check of 1. Okay, that's just 2 successes. One of them missed. That would have been a success. So we've already got 4 successes. Excellent. Okay, we passed. The monster suffers damage equal to the weapon's damage. It's not plus the result, it's just the weapon's damage that only dealt 1 damage. No! Figures that, I guess that was the worst attack option. Ah, man. I got 4 successes and it just dealt the weapon's damage, which was 1. Now the monster's still alive for another round. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, well that was Rita's turn. Unlucky Rita. Okay. Okay. So at the end of your turn, an alien will takes control. Flip this card. Also at the end of your turn, discard Daze. So the Dazed is not in effect anymore. Let's find out what the Mesmerized does. Friendly advice. Your friends do not realize what power truly means. You must tell them of the glory that awaits them. Move 2 spaces toward another random investigator, then discard this card. Okay, so it has taken control of us, and ironically it gets us away from the thrall, sort of, but it moves us past the search token, and we're going to be in range of the mob. I mean, they're both going to be horror checks of force, so it's not going to matter. But, come on. Okay, so now it is Sinclair's turn. Sinclair could, in theory... Yeah, Sinclair has got re-dazed last turn, I think. Okay, Sinclair is going to search, because sadly that has become a primary objective. Oh, I could use Sinclair to give Rita extra movement, although then the thrall is just going to be coming up to Sinclair in addition, but that would get her away from the mob. And yeah, she is currently in range of him. So yeah, let's have... Okay, Sinclair's going to use his ability to give her an extra action, which will be a move. Gets her to those 2 search tokens, and then he will also search his space for his second action. Hopefully the thrall won't entirely reach us. Let's search them crates and barrels. Okay, dig using observation. Okay. Oop, one of them missed again. So we have 2 successes, no clue results on there. Amongst rope and other boating equipment, you find something that could help you escape. Gain the Silver Twilight Dagger common item. Yeah, Silver Twilight Daggers are so common. They're just everywhere, just like those little derringers and whatnot. Of course you can expect to find a Silver Twilight Dagger. That is another one of the things that's from, I think that's from the Sanctum of Twilight. That feels like it should be a unique item, you know? Unique item. So, what did he pick up? This is a bladed weapon. You may deal 1 additional damage while casting an attack spell. So it's a support. I mean, that's great. He's got his, like, shriveling ranged attack thing. And I imagine he's going to steal the rack attack spell from Rita whenever he can. But that's funny. So he's got something that helps his spells. Currently, Sinclair is holding 4 pieces of evidence. 3 spells, his fine clothing, some bandages, and a Silver Twilight Dagger. He's got 10 things in his inventory. I'm grateful I'm not trying to keep all of this on the screen right now. It's just too much. Okay, then discarded that search token. Okay, there are only 4 search tokens left on the map now. And at least some of them should have the last evidence we need on the Marsh family, I hope. But that's going to end our investigator phase. Give us some good luck. The fire continues to spread out of control. I have a whole stack of fire off to the side. So I put a new fire token in that space. We're just going to go clockwise here. The fire spreads. A fierce wind blows, hurling debris. This mythos affects the investigator outdoor space with the highest strength. That's Rita. The wind bears down on you, hurling leaves, small objects, even stones at you. This is a strength test. We need 3 successes. We got 1 success and 2 clue tokens, but we don't have the focused or any more clues right now. So we have failed. You keep your, you don't keep your footing. Oh, if you succeed, you suffer damage. If you fail, you're blown and buffeted to the ground. Suffer 3 damage and move 1 space away from the pier. How did it know that she was standing on the pier? Because she's on the pier. She gets blown a space away from the pier, so she's onto the beach now. I wanted her there to search, to work with Sinclair. Dang it. But she suffers 3 damage, so now she's got 6 damage. If she gets a full 9 damage, that's going to trigger her insane condition, and she cannot win the game. Because, yeah, if she gets wounded, which would take a full 9 wounds to do. But, yeah, I'm going to have to use, like, Flesh Ward on her multiple times just to try to get that damage off, because she is very unlucky. Now... Oh, we got something new here. Having circled the building, the mob smashes the windows of the hotel and throws a torch inside in an attempt to smoke you out. Place the torch common item as indicated. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. Here's the torch. So place it as indicated. Okay, they tossed it inside the building. It's actually right next to the thrall. The fire from the torch spreads quickly, and soon the hotel is ablaze. Place fire as indicated. In the same space as the torch. The torch is a heavy weapon and light source. Okay, the mob moves 2 spaces towards alley corner 2. It's time for their second lap. The writhing mass of citizens. Yeah, there's nobody in the way right there. And nobody's in its space. The thrall moves 2 spaces towards the nearest investigator, which takes them outside. And no one in the space, so they get to move again. Just a double move, and they're with Sinclair and in range of Rita. Each investigator must resolve a horror check now, so they're both doing horror checks against the thrall. Rita first, just because I like to be consistent that way. Rita looks down at its rippling, malformed figure and howls in anguish. Flip 1 horror face up, then suffer 3 face down horror? That's huge! What the heck? This thrall should be like 1 step above basic. Okay. So when Rita flips a horror face up, we still remember that it was a minor shock, and it just immediately flips it back face down. Okay. Her will is 4, so will plus 1 is 5, but she's negating 3 face down horror. She got 2 successes. She does not have a clue, though, so she's going to get 1 fresh face down horror, because suffering 3 is a lot. So she's got 2 out of 5 sanity taken from her again. And now it's Sinclair. Your gaze is drawn to the unnaturally swollen and twitching limbs of the thrall. Observation check of 2. It's something he's best at. Okay, so he's got his 5 dice. 3 successes and a clue. He passed. You recognize a fragile sliver of humanity. Okay, so he doesn't suffer any horror from this. Okay, so we're done with that mythos phase. Ugh. So now Sinclair is playing with our friend. The mob is going to get close enough, but we're still dealing with nasty horror from this dang thrall. The thrall does have some damage, though. The thrall is almost dead. Yeah, it's only got 1 hit point left. So we could use that spectral razor and try to kill it with that. But afterwards, Sinclair's going to have to start running, because that's going to be in range of all the dang horror again. Sinclair is terrible at putting out fires. Yeah, I think, like, Rita, maybe I can put out the fires there, but I still have no way to deal with these, with all the horror damage I'm getting. Now, Rita doesn't have a ranged weapon at all, so she's basically just going to be running. Running on the outside, I guess. So Sinclair needs to act. Now, he does have the Twilight Dagger, but he also has +1 damage when he's casting an attack spell, so I'm going to use his Spectral Razor. We're just going to attack the Thrall with a spell with Sinclair. Energy cracks and snaps between your fingers as your hex begins to take shape. Lore with 2. So his lore is 4. So we're rolling 4 dice here. I need 2 successes. And I got a single clue. If you pass, Eldritch Lightning. Nope, nope, nope. If you fail, the energy discharges into the ground. Then flip over the spell you attacked with. Now it does +1 damage, but I imagine that's only if it hits. I think you still have to pass for it to do anything. Because you have to choose if you're using any spells. Oh yeah, the dazed went away at the end of last round for Sinclair. Like, if I wanted to turn this 1 clue into a success, I would need to do that before anything else. Okay, well, I still need to flip over a copy of the spell. So, Spectral Razor, which one is it going to be? The first one on top, which we've seen before. Losing control of the energy, it bursts from your hands in a flurry of quick slices. You and each other investigator in your space suffers 1 face-down damage. Then the monster suffers 1 additional damage for each investigator in your space. So ironically, even though we failed, yeah, he's going to take his 6th damage, which is not enough to wound him. He's got 8 health. Wait, oh yeah, that's on the right side. So he dealt 1 damage to the monster anyway, which kills it. So the thrall is gone, at the very least. So the mob's going to be there. I could have him duck inside the library and he would be safe from their horror checks, but that's basically wasting time. I could have him just cast Flesh Ward on himself twice, or like use the bandages, and just try to get some of his health back. But I'm sure the mob is just going to spawn another faster creature to chase us again. I imagine when they get to the beach, another deep one's going to pop up as well. So he's only got 2 more movement here. If I move to those searches, he's going to do a horror check. I think I need to move him to where Rita is, unfortunately. So Rita. Rita. See, I bet they spawn something, and then it gets to move twice again, and it'll be next to us again. So this is a case where I think I want to do a trade. I want to give Sinclair that rack spell, because it's really powerful, and like I'm probably never going to use the Spectral Razor again, but I will give it to Rita just so she has it. But yeah, rack seems really strong, but it's well, I don't really know. But it's superfluous at that point. I guess I can just leave that with Sinclair, but the important thing is that she gets the bandages, because she is really hurting. Okay. So we did a trade there. Were there any other things I wanted to move back or forth? Nope. Okay. And yeah, that was Rita's first action. Now Rita's second action, I'm going to move her 3 towards the far end and have her start putting out the fires. I imagine if Sinclair can talk to these people, that might give us the last things about the Marsh family we need. And at some point I'm going to have to find a way to deal with these search tokens before we run out of sanity. So she's just going to move to that corner. Next turn she's going to do like an agility check to figure out how many fires she can put out, and then run through those fires, basically. I think that's the best I can hope to do here. So that's the end of her turn. Back to Mythos. The fire spreads out of control. Place fire in a space adjacent to a space containing fire. So once again, I'm just going to leave the fire that's outside going around. I don't mind if it's over here. I'm not really going back over there again. So it spreads. Choking smoke rolls off the flames, engulfing you. This mythos affects each investigator in a space containing fire. Nobody is in a space with fire. We're a space next to fire. Okay, as with one voice, the mob cries out in a language you do not understand. In response, a deep one spawns as indicated. So it spawns up on the far corner of the dock. Kind of close to Sinclair, which would really suck. And someone in the mob seems to realize your plans to use a boat to escape. The crowd begins heading to the docks to stop you once and for all. One of the locals breaks away from the mast to circle the building in the opposite direction. Spawn the Child of Dagon as indicated. So looks like we've got an elite. There's the old Child of Dagon. I found one. It just seems to be a big boy. Not sure which one of these particularly looks like a Child of Dagon. Guess it's the, Nope, dropped him. I can just make this a cultist with robes, just to make him visually distinct from the hybrids. So, the Child of Dagon, visibility of 4, horror level of 3, physicality of 2, even less human than its fellows. This creature's fish-like stare and clammy skin hint at its ancestry. Yeah, I mean, the boat has not shown up for us yet. Okay, there's our Child of Dagon. The mob moves 2 spaces towards Alley 2. So there goes the mob. Nobody has shared a space with it. Nobody is within range of it, just barely. The deep one moves 2 spaces towards Sinclair. And nobody is in its space. Okay, now the Child of Dagon moves 2 spaces towards the nearest investigator. Then it attacks the one in its space. Well, the closest is still going to be following behind the mob, basically. Because they're... I wonder, is it fast? Like, can it trace a path through the secret passage there? So, 1, 2, 3, 4... 6, 7, 8. It's equidistant, so I'm going to make him go the less optimal space. There's no one in its space. Okay, now it's horror check time. So, wouldn't you know, we have to resolve a horror check against a deep one again. This is Sinclair. Okay, it begins to slam and claw the ground in a fury. Suffer 2 horror negated by will. Carson's will is 3. We got 0 successes. He is already insane, so he only has two sanity left on his in his skull, I guess. Because if he gets insane twice, we just lose. What do I do? Okay, end the mythos phase. Yeah, there's nothing I can do to get their sanity back. I can heal their bodies, but not their minds. But yeah, Sinclair, he loses the game if we haven't done every search token. She loses the game if she gets wounded a second time. So we could get into the weird situation where if we somehow get out of here, like if we somehow manage to successfully summon the boat in a way that the game has not at all told us how to do, we could summon the boat and have both characters lose, but have the team win, which would be really weird. I mean, it sounds fun, but how? Okay, Sinclair is going to be chased down by the Deep One. The best thing I can think of for him, just like if I assume the Deep One only moves 2, if I get him through the secret passage to the inside, then he can he can move towards the torch on the inside, try to like extinguish that, pick up the torch and like pick this up, but just have the Deep One basically chasing him. So Sinclair moves, and he moves again. The dang child of Dagon is probably going to catch up to him first, but it is going to have to move through the fire to do so. You know, silver linings, I guess. But Sinclair just double moves over to there. Actually, I can do better than that. Because he's in range of Rita, if he gives Rita an action, all he has to do is move inside the bathroom, and the what is it? The Deep One? Yeah, the Deep One shouldn't force a horror check on him this turn, as long as he keeps a door between them. So he can order Rita to do a move and then go inside. So Rita's turn, we'll have to look up the fire again, like specifically how to put out fire so that she can run towards those other people. So, fire. As an action, an investigator may attempt to extinguish flames by testing agility. For each success, they may discard fire from a space or from the space they're in, or a space they may move into later during the round. So, if Rita were able to roll like all 4 successes on her agility roll, on the action that Sinclair gave her, then she could move like into those spaces later in the round and like put out all the fire on this side of the alley, for example. It won't be enough to extinguish all of the fire, and now I'm worried if I'm on a 2, 3, 4 turn clock to the end of this game, because the mob is apparently going to the dock once and for all, though why don't I summon the boat over somewhere else? But anyway, she is going to test her agility, and this is going to determine how many fires we can extinguish this round. I guess if this is like, if this comes up blank, I could always try it again. 2 clues. I can't do anything with 2 clues. She has no clues to deal with, so Sinclair's first action was completely wasted. His second one, he moved in. Now her turn begins. She's going to do another extinguish roll to try to extinguish some fire. I think I need to talk to them. That's all I can imagine for how to get out of this. Okay, this time I got 3 successes, which is perfect because she can move 3. So any spaces she moves into later in, well, the next 3 spaces she moves into, which is her movement, she has extinguished 3 fires from the board. Now, we still have 3 fire on the board, but that's how you put out fires. Our first time doing that. Yeah, there's still fire in front of that guy, but maybe now I can start spreading the fire in front of the enemies. Like if I force the child of Dagon to walk through the fire to get after Sinclair, great. Okay, they've each taken their actions. How are we going to get out of this? The fire spreads out of control. Place fire in a space adjacent to a space containing fire. The fire is on my side now. And that fire is between me and the child of Dagon. So the fire spreads. Okay, you are suddenly aware of the awful and unstoppable passage of time, obsessively dwelling your ultimate mortal fate. Each investigator suffers 2 face-down horror, negated by will. This is what's going to get us. So Rita has a will of 4, and she negates 1, so she takes 1 face-down horror. She is up to 3 horror, and she has 2 sanity left. I don't know how I keep turning this thing upside down. I must have interleaved them at some point. Now, Sinclair only has 3 will. This could end the game if he doesn't negate any of this. He negated 1 of them, so he has another horror. He has 5 face-down horror. He's about to get eliminated. Nothing else I can do about this. Okay, the mob moves towards the pier. So, they're up next to the deep one. Hey, deep one. Nobody within range, we've stayed away from it. The deep one moves 2 spaces towards the nearest investigator. Oop, it's outside the secret passage. Nobody's in its space. The child of Dagon moves 2 spaces towards the nearest investigator. Well, now you're in the fire. Haha. So, number 1. Oh man, he has 12 health. This is, I guess, a cult leader or something, but he takes 1 damage each time he moves into a space with fire. I would have to get him, like, moving back and forth to really... Yeah, moves into a space or starts its activation in a space with fire, takes a damage. So, no one's in the space. Each investigator must resolve a horror check against... well, actually, nobody's in horror range right now, because we're on the other side of the secret passage, and there are doors in the way over there. Great. So that Mythos phase ends, but we are really close to losing, and I still have no way to summon the boat, as far as I know. It is still possible, but like I have no way to make Sinclair win at this point, just because I can't get there from here, realistically. Now, Sinclair is being chased by a deep one. What I'm thinking is, if I go through there, like, I can knock on the door with Henderson, use the sigil to, like, sneak in, and just try to get past that, and then the deep one follows. It'll still have a door between us again. So, yeah, that's the thing. There's probably going to spawn more things to search once I'm inside this room, of course, but maybe it'll be the last piece of evidence I need. I don't know, but if I go towards the torch, you know, the child of Dagon's going to be right on top of me. And yeah, nothing else I can really do. So, we are going to do a move action, we're going to do an explore, and hopefully we'll get our last movement after we go through. Okay, so the store is closed, the door is locked. After a moment you hear a voice, password. He has the cult sigil, unique item. You turn the sigil over in your hand and find a word engraved on the back. Dagon? Great password. Great password for a Cthulhu thing. You mutter the word through the door, and a moment later you hear the click of a deadbolt. You gain 1 clue. We haven't had one of those in a while. Well, he now has 2. Okay, the back area of the store is cluttered with boxes and crates. Discard all explore tokens leading to the storefront. Okay, what is that thing? The figure who opened the door stands nearby and says, "Welcome. Place a person token as indicated." Okay, I'm going to need... Oh, I'm about to interact with them, so I'm just going to put this this blue exclamation point instead. Oh. But they're going to force me to do one of those, so I guess I'm putting a person down anyway. Okay, I'll use this purple key token that I had handy. An old radio sits behind the front counter, quietly hissing static. Place an interact token as indicated. And among the oddities, a box on display on the front counter catches your interest. Place a search token. Ah, Sinclair! Anything else? You notice a fire extinguisher mounted on the wall behind the counter. Place the fire extinguisher common item as indicated. There's so many great things, if only we weren't about to die from sanity loss. So the fire extinguisher, heavy weapon, action, discard all fire in your space and adjacent spaces. How about that? That would be very useful, right? Oh, and in a prominent glass case in the corner, a bizarre statue is on display. Well, bizarre statues are usually good evidence, so place a search token as indicated. Any more? A small but heavy shelf stands near the door. You could use it to fortify the door should the need arise. Place a barricade as indicated. Great. It's near the front door. That kind of thing would be useful if we were being attacked from the front. You may move one space into the explored area. So I get to move in there for free. Now, well, let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so the move action we did before, we've used one space, so we could use our second move action to get over to there, because we are being chased by Dagon and Deep Ones and all of that stuff. On the other hand, there's all these things that we want to use in here. Like, the fire extinguisher, all the stuff we want to interact with. All of Sinclair's stuff is right here. So I think we want to just take our stand against the Deep One right here. But yeah, I mean, the horror is just going to be nasty. I mean, it's going to kill us. I'm almost certain at this point. We have nothing. There's like one item, the King James Bible, I think, can cure sanity damage, but we didn't get that. So I don't know what else we can possibly do here. So I have the option of moving Sinclair over to that space. And the barricade I can only use from the inside, which would just block Rita out from entering the store. Okay, what's the best way to deal with this? Sinclair's going to stay where he is. He's not going to take the extra move. He's done a move action and an explore action, and he's done. So Rita still has all of this fire in front of her. What I really want to do is just, keep the fire in front of these Dagon people on the inside, and I can just keep spreading it where we are not. But I do want Rita to extinguish that fire, and then, get into the building, if possible. Because she can help fight the Deep One. I hope. So, we're going to use fire extinguish action. So she rolls her agility. This is how many fires she can put out. She got 2 successes. That's all we needed. So with her turn, now she can do a move action. So 1, 2, 3. She is also in the building, and she extinguished 2 fires. Now the only fire that we actually put out the first fire, but there's still the one from the torch and this whole Child of Dagon thing. But that was Rita's turn. We're both in the building now. That ends our phase. Come on, keep going. Fire spreads out of control. Yep. Place fire in a space adjacent to a space with fire. Hey, cultist guy, how would you like some more fire directly in your path? A strange vaporous color fills the air. It affects each investigator in the storefront, which is both of us this time. The foul mist invades your every thought. Become dazed. You wonder... Okay, we're both dazed again. Great. You wonder where the fog came from and what it is. Lore check of 1. If you pass, you recall a story. If you fail, the vapor burns your throat and lungs. Suffer damage, which would be very bad. Okay, so lore. Rita has a lore of 3. And I only need 1, but she failed, so she suffers 2 face-down damage. She has suffered 8 damage. If she gets even 1 more, she cannot win no matter what. She's right on the edge, but that said, she does have the bandages. Limping along. Now, Sinclair does have a lore of 4. We only need 1, and he got 3 successes. He can't just tell her the answer, of course. But he's fine. Okay, the mob moves 2 spaces towards the beach. But nobody's getting dragged along with them. Nobody's within range. The deep one moves 2 spaces towards the nearest investigator through the secret passage. No one's in the space. The Child of Dagon moves 2 spaces towards the nearest investigator. Okay, so because he's in fire, he starts his turn where there is fire, he takes a damage, and he moves into 2 spaces that both have fire on them. So he's up to 4 damage, and we haven't even met him yet, though he, I guess, is really strong. We really need some kind of bonus for killing these guys. Okay, nobody's in the space. Each investigator must resolve a horror check. Nobody is within horror range because there's a door in the way. Okay. We have made it one more turn, somehow. Can we pull this out? Probably not. But we can always get lucky. It is dice, after all. You can just keep rolling Yahtzees. Oh boy. So we're still going to have a problem with all of these monsters. We're dazed this turn as well, so we can't use any of the clues. I want to throw Rita at the deep one, but she has 1 hit point left from being entirely screwed herself from all of this, thanks to that last event. Sinclair wants to finally get to talk to people, but he is also in terrible shape. The Child of Dagon is going to get to move 2 spaces. He'll reach us. The deep one's going to move 2 spaces. He'll reach us. We need to get out of this building this turn. Both of us, really. So the things that I can do, Sinclair can search and then run. Rita can search and then run. I mean, we're still trying to win, so... Or Rita really ought to use the bandages and run, because that's an action and she will die if she doesn't. So, Sinclair. What is this thing again? It's a wooden box with sliding panels on its surface. This is a puzzle, isn't it? Oh, he's gonna die before we can finish that thing. But also, he'll die if he doesn't finish that thing. Sinclair! Okay, does this take an action to interact with? Oh, it's a radio. We can request someone to come pick us up. This is the captain of the Lively. I'm currently moored in the bay by Innsmouth. Is anyone there? Yeah, we don't care where he's from right now. I have to use an action for this. Can you pick us up? Craven, is that you? The captain must have been expecting someone else. You tell him your situation. Not sure if I want to take on unknown passengers in the middle of the night. How do I know I can trust you? Influence. Finally, the fine clothes that we are wearing are going to help us with this radio check. Sure. But that boosts his influence up from 4 to 5. He is still dazed, so I can't use clues, but we've got 5 dice here. Come on. 0! 0 with 5 dice. Are you kidding me? And I'm going to have to run after this. Of course. Sorry, I try not to make a habit of taking on random passengers from Innsmouth. We have found the way to summon the boat. It apparently wasn't the signal light at the end of the dock. I guess we were expected to know to come here first? Somehow? Realizing you are not a member of the Order, the woman draws a long dagger. Discard this person token and spawn a cultist as indicated. Great, we're not even going to be able to run away. Sinclair is going to get murderated. Okay, just give me a... Oh. Cultist, first try. Great, I should have just talked to her first. That may have given us information about the marshes, which, who knows if that would have helped us with the boat or not. Yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to get a figure out. This cultist is just... That's the cultist. Okay, we spawned a cultist. Great. So the cultist is not very horrifying, but they are very in our space. And Yeah, even if we escape, the cultist is going to reach us. Well, we still have to do it because all of them are still causing us pain and fire and stuff. So we are going to attempt to evade the cultist. Sinclair has terrible agility. I mean, I could probably completely toast this person, but if I suffer any mental damage, I'm dead. I need to run. Ooh. Yeah, they've also got 6 health, of course. Okay, cultist approaches from behind somehow and brings a heavy staff upon your head. Suffer 2 damage, but observation +1 negates. So our observation is 5, so we get 6. And if you take any damage, you lose your action. So I can take one of the blanks and re-roll it. I've already succeeded. Yeah, 2 successes. Okay. Oh, I needed those 2. I have negated both damage, and I managed to escape. So he can still move his 2 spaces away. Thankfully, Rita is not in the space with that person, but we still need to, I still need to do the search in that space and then run. Man, that's terrible. There was no indication that a mission-critical thing was there. I thought I needed to either row out to the dock, like, okay, that boat was no good, but maybe if I had checked one of those boats, one of those would have been good enough, like no holes in it, and I could have used that to get out to the thing. Like, I have no idea what the levels of success are here, which is, that's playing it blind. I don't know how much things I need, but the fact that, oh, you can just radio the boat? Come on. Although, like, apparently that is the lighthouse or something, so I can always try signaling him from there too. Long story short, Rita has to investigate this thing because I apparently still need more evidence. So pick the lock or smash the glass. We are smashing. We do not have time for subtlety. Smash your elbow through the glass. Ah, you gotta be kidding me. I thought this was a strength check. Well, living with the results. Suffer 1 face-down damage. Rita is now wounded, which means she cannot possibly win because that is 9 face-down damage. You take the statue from the case. A tag hangs from the back of it that reads, "For sale by the Marsh family. Please contact for price." Gain the grotesque statue unique item and 1 clue, then discard the search token. Oy, oy, oy. Okay. Grotesque stone or grotesque? Yeah, grotesque stone. So she got one of those. I say I should have used the bandage first, but then she wouldn't be able to escape from that room where the deep one was coming either, so. I cannot say, but she has secretly failed, but as far as Sinclair knows, that's still a thing, so. Okay, she has become wounded, and you've suffered. Okay, so you discard all of your face-down health damage. I don't think we ever saw what any of this was, but I'm just going to put it right on the bottom. Okay, so she's wounded, which means that she cannot use more than one of her actions for a movement each round. Notably, I'm pretty sure, yeah, that includes, like, if Sinclair gives her an extra action. Okay, so she's broken that. I wonder, because that doesn't take an action to do, you have enough evidence to convict the Marsh family. Now you just need to escape. Okay, we have the 5 evidence. That did not summon the boat, as far as I know. But now we need to basically run. Actually, no, we still need to summon the boat. I'm going to hope that we can open that up somehow. So Rita is just going to run. She's not going to stop where that person is. Just runs 3 spaces away. Got it. And they've all moved. It's time to end the investigator phase. I still think it's going to be funny if we can get out of here. The fire spreads to where the deep one is, because the fire is on my side. I still think it's going to be funny if both of the characters lose, but I win. So I just want to see if I can do it somehow. But they are so close to going insane and us losing that. Okay, in the distance, you hear sudden screams and howls of rage. The sound is gone as soon as it begins. This Mythos event affects the investigator with the lowest will in the space with the most investigators. That is Sinclair, and he cannot suffer any more horror or we lose. His will is only 3. That's true. They both did their actions, so the dazed status at least is gone. We can use our clues again, which may be critical. Okay, your vision tints red and a powerful anger courses through you. Suffer 2 horror. Your will -1 negates. He's only got 2 here. Oh boy. Okay, so if I don't get 2 successes or at least clues, this game's over. But I got a success and 1 clue, and I can spend that clue to make it a success, so we have negated both. We live for 1 more turn at least. He negated both horror. For each horror, no one else is in my space. Okay, the mob moves 2 spaces towards the rental dock. Great. I guess the shack is its own little space, because it does have a door. But they are kind of in our way now. No one got dragged with them, and Rita is still more than 3 away. No one's in range. The mob reaches the docks and begins smashing and burning the rental boats. If you do not escape soon, it will be too late. Place fire as indicated. So we've got another fire. That has been set. Oh, both of those spaces have fire. The deep one moves 2 spaces towards the nearest investigator. It takes damage from the fire that it's in. And now it's outside. No one's in the space. The Child of Dagon moves 2 spaces towards the closest one, so that's 2 more damage to the Child of Dagon. Now, if only I can drag them all back through that fire again, if I can get Sinclair, like, over to here somehow. They would still just follow out on the street, probably, but within 2 spaces? Yeah, nobody was in 2 spaces. Moves 2 more spaces near the closest. Great, now he's caught up to Sinclair. That may be it. The cultist moves up to 2 spaces, then it attacks. Each investigator within range. Rita is within range of this. Okay. The cultist mumbles a dark chant. You feel something writhing in your skin. Opening old wounds. Suffer 1 face-down damage. Strength -1 negates. Then flip a damage face up. Well, this is gonna suck. Rita first, since they're both in range here. So her strength -1 is 4. So 2 successes. Well, she has negated it. But then flip a damage face up. She doesn't have any. Okay, Sinclair's got 3 strength, so he rolls 2 dice. He does have face-down damage. Let's see, he currently has a total of 6. He's got 8 health. Let's get him up to 7. You know, I don't care too much if he gets wounded as well. And then we flip 1 face up. So we've got 8 damage. A random one of them is going to go face up. So I'm just going to roll this d8, and it's an 8. I re-roll. Okay, damage number 2. So the second one from the top here is a minor injury. Only a flesh wound. Flip it back face down. Okay. So he is at basically 1 health remaining. He's got 7 wounds face down of his 8 health. Okay, each investigator must resolve a horror check. So, because the Child of Dagon got an extra 1, we're going to do 2 horror checks against the Child of Dagon. So, Rita first. Seems to be lost in some horrible thought, eyes rolling upward. Suffer 2 face-down horror, will negates. Her will is 4. She only has 2 remaining. She got all 4 successes. She is perfectly fine. Now, Sinclair. This is the scary one. Okay, oh, but this is a strength check. Uh-oh. The Child of Dagon exhales hideous fumes, strength of 3. If you pass, the stench is horrid, but you keep your calm. Okay, otherwise... Oh, if you don't pass, you're going to suffer a face-down horror. That's going to end him if he does not pass this. And we got 1 success, 1 clue, and 1 failure. So even if I use the clue to upgrade it, that's only 2, so I would fail. Flip 1 horror face up. Oh, it's one of these 5, so... Yeah, D10 divided by 2 again. Okay, it's the first one. Horror face up. Hysteria. Screaming hysterically, you claw your own flesh with your nails. Flip 1 damage face up, then flip this face down. So, we're gonna do the damage flip again, using the D8. It's... well, 8's a reroll. Reroll. I'll take the 7 that time, because I don't want to keep it. Okay, minor injury. Only a flesh wound. Okay, then that gets flipped face down. Now, he suffers a face-down horror and becomes dazed. That's the problem, because he's got 6. He is now insane and... so I'm pretty sure that means he's eliminated, which means you get 1 final round, and then the game is just over. I'm pretty sure that's how this works. So... insanity? Where are you in here? Yeah, horror checks. Of course it wouldn't be in the simple rules. Gotta go to the fancy rules. So, not indoor or interact, I want insanity. Yes, causes you to suffer horror. Okay, page 7, damage and horror. Okay, insane. When an insane investigator has suffered horror equal to or exceeding his sanity, that investigator is eliminated. So, Sinclair is out.
Realizing you intend to escape, the mob descends on the docks. They tear planks from the wharf and set fire to the boats. With your only escape cut off by the crowd, you flee inland, running through the claustrophobic streets. Suddenly, you're confronted by a large group of shambling locals who descend upon you. Countless slimy hands pin you down and bind your limbs. Once secured, you're dragged through the streets towards your gruesome fate. All the while, the locals stare after you with large, unblinking eyes.
Well, that was a bit disappointing, but we knew at some point that was going to catch up with us. That said, I do feel like this was more than a little unfair, in that it feels like it requires you to have foreknowledge about, number 1, the mob's going to go clockwise. So if I had just gone the other way first, because nothing about this specifically told the game where I was going. If I had simply gone east, I would have immediately found the radio, which would have called the guy to us. There were multiple clues within this room with that cultist person. And, yeah, like, I probably would have been in a much better position overall. Like, I already had basically 2 clues just from after I took out that first cultist, or the first hybrid one, who was behind the door. So that one went pretty rough on me, I think. But yeah, if I had simply gone the other way, or if I had gone out like the back door and gone in there, like after getting the ring, you know, I could have ambushed that person perhaps with both of our people. And I did what should have summoned the boat. It blinked twice in return. What did that mean if not, you know, light the thing. Come get us, please. But I guess that was supposed to be the signal, like if we had succeeded in the radio call. Like, yes, please come and get us. Lighting the lamp at the end of the dock would have been the signal for them to come get us. But we didn't talk to anyone first, so it does make sense. Yeah, I'm not going to just pick up any random people in Innsmouth. That much makes sense. but the existence of the radio was unknown until we went into the shop from the back door after the mob had made practically a full circuit of the building. So that was a long time before I figured out what we actually needed to do. And I still never found out what was actually in, I assume, the lighthouse. Because it said, like, they tried to bang on that door and it was locked, so they just tried to set fire to the place. It definitely was a long scenario, but if I knew exactly what I needed to do from the start, like, I practically beelined to that exit, but I didn't find enough evidence that said maybe the things I was missing, like I could have gotten from those places, if I didn't have the mob bearing down, like, literally behind me every step of the way around the board, and I didn't have to run all the time, if I went this way and the mob was over there, I just had a hybrid coming after me every few turns, and I could have gotten information out of this side of the board. I could have gotten enough evidence. I could have had, talked to the people, and I could have simply gotten out way faster. So that's brutal luck, but I'm wondering, does that mean that the tale of Rita and her butler should be over at this point? Because they got carted off. Maybe I should pick 2 new characters to play as going forward. Perhaps the next family gets called in to investigate the Marsh family, for example, and the town has been rebuilt or something, and I will know slightly more about this stuff. But perhaps that's going to be the end of Rita and Sinclair's tale, and we'll just have to see what happens the next time Mansions of Madness comes up. Maybe the map will be different last time. I certainly believe that, like, the alleys on the outside will be the same, but maybe, like, this will be in a different spot. Maybe the inside buildings will be a little bit different. Maybe, what's going on with the boats will be slightly different. Maybe, like, those will all be in a different spot relative to each other on the back of town. So it definitely could play out a bit different. But I'm really salty about that radio, like, being critical and having no clue to it from the beginning. The number one thing was, oh, there is a boat out there that we need to get to. It's out by the docks. Oh, well, it turns out the fastest way to get to the pier is that way. Like, I knew it was there, but okay, there's a street that goes straight to it. Let's run up that really fast, and, like, getting to the docks as fast as possible was my strategy. But there were multiple reasons in-game why that was a terrible strategy. Because the radio, number one, the light not being enough was number 2. So either the boats... I wonder if there was something you could have done in the lighthouse to signal the boat, like some kind of Morse code or something. But still, we could have done Morse code, like some kind of lore check or something, to signal the boat. Given the lantern that we had, and the other oil lamp that we had, like the large lamp, you cover it, and you just, like, blink at them, like, indicate distress in the direction of that thing. It feels like that should have been enough to summon the rescue. And with that as our primary objective, that all made sense. But in-game rules-wise, it was possibly the worst thing I could have done. Well, this one hurts. Definitely was a long time to result in a loss. It did feel for a little bit like there was no way I could win just because we kept suffering so much horror and nothing we could do about it. But I was still hoping at the end, like, once we said, oh, we have enough evidence, okay, how do we get the boat to come now? Because it turns out that wasn't the trigger for the boat. It was reasonable for me to expect that as well. That simply getting enough evidence after having signaled the boat, at least I thought I'd signaled it, would have made it show up. That didn't do it either. So yeah, definitely mixed signals as to what I really needed to do to complete this mission, and I ended up spending too much time not going into the storefront, or I guess the lighthouse, or the boat, all of which was on the wrong side of the board from where I spent most of my time. I think this falls under the category of a long, exciting loss after all of that. I think that's going to do it for this episode. this probably two-part episode for Mansions of Madness from Wheel of Games. Hope to see you in the next episode. See you then. Bye-bye.